Commander Ju Park stood on the observation deck of the ESV Dauntless, watching the stars. For 5 years, this ship had been her home. Earth's finest warship, they called it. She felt proud of that fact. "Commander, the conclave delegation is approaching," said Captain Do-Yeon Kim, appearing at her side. He pointed to a small dot of light growing larger against the black of space. "They're early," Ju noted, straightening her uniform. "Seems punctuality is universal," Do-Yeon replied with a small smile. The alien ship came closer. It looked nothing like Earth vessels. Where human ships were all sharp angles and reinforced plates, the conclave vessel shimmered like silk in the starlight, its hull flowing in curves that seemed impossible for a spacecraft. Ju watched through the viewport as the alien ship docked. This meeting was important. After centuries alone in space, humanity had finally been invited to join the Galactic Conclave, a group of 27 spacefaring species. Today's inspection was just a formality, or so Earth's leaders had said. The conclave representatives walked onto the Dauntless with measured steps. Leading them was Admiral Taho, a tall being with blue skin and large, thoughtful eyes. 2 thin mandibles clicked gently at the sides of his mouth when he spoke. "Commander Park," Taho said, bowing slightly, "we are honored to tour your vessel." "The honor is ours, Admiral," Ju replied. "Shall we begin?" The tour started well. Taho and his 3 colleagues seemed impressed by the ship's size and the crew's discipline. But Ju noticed something change when they reached the weapons control room. "These are your point defense systems?" Taho asked, looking at the rows of targeting computers. "Yes," said Ju. "Standard issue on all our warships. We can stop 98.7% of incoming projectiles." Taho's mandibles clicked rapidly. He exchanged glances with the others in his group. "And how many such systems do you have?" he asked. 12 independent networks," Ju explained. "Each can work alone if others are damaged." The aliens grew quieter after that. In the missile bay, Taho stared at the kinetic bombardment weapons for a long time. "These are planet killers," he said softly. "They're for extreme situations only," Ju assured him. "We've never actually used them." Next came the antimatter storage facility. The conclave delegation huddled together, speaking in low tones in their own language. Ju caught Do-Yeon's eye. Something was wrong. In the engine room, Taho's professional demeanor finally broke. "Your ship has 5 separate power systems," he said. "Why so many?" "Redundancy," explained Chief Engineer Min Oba. "If 4 fail, we can still fight and fly." "Fight and fly," repeated Taho. His blue skin had taken on a paler shade. Even after sustaining damage that would destroy any vessel in the conclave fleet, an uncomfortable silence filled the room. Ju tried to read the alien faces but couldn't tell if they were impressed or horrified. "Commander Park," Taho said at last, his voice formal again. "We must speak with your planetary leadership immediately. This inspection has revealed matters of grave concern." 24 hours later, Ju sat in Earth's unified command center alongside the highest military and political leaders. The room was silent as Taho presented the conclave's findings. On a large screen, the alien displayed comparisons between Earth ships and standard conclave vessels. The differences were striking. Where conclave ships had thin, beautiful hulls, Earth ships were wrapped in layer upon layer of armor. Where conclave vessels carried defensive shields and minimal weapons, human warships bristled with guns, missiles, and bombs. "Your vessels," Taho stated, mandibles perfectly still, "are what we would classify as extinction-level weapons. They violate 17 different conclave warfare conventions." President Lee leaned forward. "Admiral Taho, we designed our ships for defense. Space is dangerous." "Indeed," said Taho. "But the conclave has maintained peace for 2,000 years through strict limitations on military technology. Your ships," he paused, searching for words, "your ships could destroy an entire conclave battle group without sustaining critical damage." Ju felt a chill. She had always been proud of human engineering, of the Dauntless's ability to take punishment and keep fighting. Now she saw it through alien eyes, as something terrifying. "What are you suggesting?" asked General Soyenhan. "That we dismantle our fleet." "The Conclave Council is debating that very question," Taiho replied. "Some members believe humanity is too dangerous to join our community. Others see potential in your unique approach to survival." Juwu looked around the room. Earth's leaders seemed shocked, angry, confused. They had expected a simple inspection, maybe some minor adjustments. Not this. "We don't want war," said Juwu suddenly. All eyes turned to her. "Our ships are built this way because we've always been alone. We had to prepare for the worst." Taiho studied her for a long moment. "Perhaps," he said quietly, "that is the problem. You built for war because you expected it. We built for peace because we created it." He sighed, a strangely human sound. "The question now is whether those two visions can exist together." 3 days after the tense meeting with Earth's leadership, Commander Juwu Park sat in the analysis room aboard the Dauntless. Engineer Hyunwoo Lee stood beside her, pointing at the large holographic display that dominated the center of the room. "What exactly makes our ship so different?" Juwu asked, studying the side-by-side comparison of vessels. The hologram showed a conclave cruiser floating next to the Dauntless. The alien ship looked beautiful, almost like art. The human ship looked like a weapon. "It's not just one thing," said Hyunwoo, adjusting his glasses. "It's our entire approach to warfare." He touched a control panel, and the outer hulls of both ships became transparent, revealing their internal structures. "Look here," he said, pointing at the conclave vessel. "Their armor is basically ceremonial. Single-layer hulls, minimal compartmentalization, no redundant systems." Juwu frowned. "That makes no sense. They'd been traveling through space for centuries longer than us. Surely they've faced dangers." "Yes, but they evolved beyond warfare," Hanwoo explained. "Their records show they haven't fought a major conflict in over 2,000 years. Their ships are primarily diplomatic vessels with some defense capabilities, not dedicated warships like ours." Captain Do-Yeon Kim entered the room, carrying a tablet. "The reports from engineering confirm it. Their shield technology is impressive, but one good hit would collapse their whole system. They have no backup." "And their weapons?" asked Juwu. "Designed to disable, not destroy," said Hyunwoo. "They could knock out our engines or communications, but they'd struggle to actually sink a ship like ours." Juwu walked around the hologram, thinking. Earth's history was filled with war. Even when humans reached for the stars, they had brought their fears and weapons with them. It had seemed natural, even necessary. "So when they look at our ships," she began, "they see planet killers," finished Do-Yeon. "Ships designed to keep fighting even after taking massive damage. Ships that won't stop until they've completed their mission or been completely destroyed." Hyunwoo nodded. "And the concept of acceptable casualties terrifies them. Their records show that losing even a single crew member is considered catastrophic. We build our ships expecting that some of us might die." The room fell silent as they considered this cultural gulf. What humans saw as prudent defense, the Conclave saw as excessive aggression. "Admiral Kang wants you at the diplomatic summit," Do-Yeon said, breaking the silence. "The Conclave Council is meeting in 2 hours." The diplomatic center orbited Earth like a shining ring. Inside its main chamber, representatives from 27 alien species and humanity sat around a massive circular table. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut. Admiral Taeho stood, his blue skin catching the light. "The Conclave has reviewed the findings from our inspection. We have reached a decision." He paused, mandibles clicking softly. "We cannot allow such weapons to exist within our coalition. Earth must disarm its fleet." Murmurs spread through the alien delegation. Admiral Suman Kang, Earth's chief representative, rose to her feet. Though smaller than many aliens present, her presence commanded attention. "With respect, Admiral," she said firmly. We have only just found our place among the stars. You're asking us to surrender our only defense. Your ships are not defensive tools, countered a serpentine delegate from the far side of the table. They are extinction machines. To you, perhaps, said Kang. To us, they represent survival. Humanity has faced extinction many times in our history. We build to endure. Juwu watched from her seat behind Admiral Kang. The fundamental disconnect was clear. Neither side could fully understand the other's perspective. Perhaps a compromise, suggested a small furry delegate. Humans could modify their vessels, remove the most destructive. No, interrupted Admiral Kang. We cannot predict what threats lie beyond known space. We will not leave Earth defenseless. Admiral Taeho's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of frustration. Juwu had learned. Then we are at an impasse, he said. The Conclave cannot admit a species whose military power threatens the balance we have maintained for millennia. The deadlock seemed complete. Delegates began speaking over each other, some arguing for humanity's exclusion, others advocating for patience and understanding. The beautiful harmony of the conclave was fracturing before their eyes. Suddenly, every communication device in the room activated simultaneously. Screens lit up with an emergency broadcast signal. The universal translator struggled to keep up as panicked voices spoke in a dozen languages at once. Under attack. Unknown vessels. Defenses failing. Send help immediately. The room fell silent as a blurry video feed appeared on the main display. It showed sleek black ships cutting through a conclave defense fleet like knives through paper. One by one, the elegant alien vessels exploded or drifted, disabled. Admiral Taeho stared at the screen, mandibles completely still, a sign of shock. That's Epsilon Sector, he whispered. 3 colonies, millions of people. Admiral Kang looked at Juwu, then back at Taeho. Perhaps, she said quietly, this discussion about our ships being too powerful has become irrelevant. The emergency broadcast signal blared through the Dauntless's command center. Commander Juwu Park rushed to the main console where Communications Officer Jin Woo-yoon was receiving the transmission. Distress signal from Epsilon Sector, Jin Woo reported, his fingers flying over the controls. Multiple conclave worlds under attack. The main screen flickered to life, showing chaotic footage from a distant conclave outpost. Sleek black ships, shaped like arrowheads, moved with frightening precision through the conclave's defensive line. The beautiful alien vessels stood no chance. One by one, they exploded or drifted away, disabled. Those aren't any ships in our database, said Captain Do-yeon Kim, leaning forward to study the footage. Look how they're cutting through the conclave defenses, Juwu said quietly. Like tissue paper. The bridge crew watched in silence as station after station fell. The black ships didn't seem interested in communication or surrender. They simply attacked, destroyed, and moved on. Signal lost, Jin Woo announced as the screen went blank. The whole sector has gone dark. 3 days later, Juwu found herself in a classified meeting aboard the Conclave diplomatic station. The room was filled with alien representatives, but gone was their earlier confidence. Many looked tired, some injured. Admiral Taeho sat at the head of the table, his blue skin now pale gray with stress. We've identified the attackers, Taeho said, his voice strained. They call themselves the Void Harvesters. We've encountered them before, centuries ago, but never in such numbers. He touched a control, and a hologram appeared showing one of the black ships. They don't build or create, he continued. They consume. Technology, resources, even living beings, all become fuel for their fleet. Why haven't they attacked before now? Asked Juwu. Our defensive network has kept them at bay, said a serpentine alien delegate. Until now. Admiral Taeho looked directly at Juwu. His large eyes seemed to hold both pride and pain. Commander Park, our vessels are being destroyed faster than we can deploy them. The harvesters have adapted to our defensive strategies. He paused. We need your help. Juwu couldn't hide her surprise. The same ships you wanted dismantled a week ago. Yes. Tahoe's mandibles clicked softly. Under strict oversight, of course. You want us to fight your war? Asked Admiral Kang, who sat beside Juwu. We want to save lives, Tahoe replied. Millions will die if the harvesters reach the inner systems. Your ships are. He struggled to find the right word. Excessive by our standards. But right now, excessive force may be exactly what we need. Admiral Kang looked at Juwu. Commander Park knows the Epsilon sector best. Her battle group could deploy immediately. Juwu nodded slowly. 5 ships. That's all we can spare on short notice. 5 human warships, said Tahoe, a hint of hope in his voice. It may be enough. Within a week, final preparations were complete. The Dauntless led 4 other Earth vessels, the Intrepid, the Valiant, the Defiant, and the Resolute, toward the jump point that would take them to Epsilon sector. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Juwu addressed her crew. This mission is unprecedented, she said, looking at the determined faces around her. We're the first human ships to fight alongside the Conclave. Many of them still fear us. Some still want our ships dismantled. But right now, we're all that stands between the harvesters and millions of innocent lives. She nodded to the navigator. Take us in. The jump was smooth. The battle group emerged near Proxima Station, once a thriving trade hub, now a massacre in progress. Dozens of harvester ships surrounded the station, cutting into its hull with energy beams. Harvester vessels detected, reported the sensor officer. 47 ships, various sizes. They've seen us, added Jinwu. 3 ships breaking off to intercept. Juwu felt a strange calm settle over her. This was what the Dauntless was built for. All ships, battle formation Delta, she ordered. Shields at maximum. Weapons hot. On the tactical display, she watched as her 5 ships formed a protective V-shape. The approaching harvesters showed no signs of slowing or changing course. They're not even trying to evade, noted Tactical Officer Youngmi Choi, studying their movement patterns. Their approach is completely predictable. Analyze their attack patterns, Juwu ordered. Youngmi worked her console for several moments. It's strange, Commander. They don't maneuver during combat. No evasive patterns, no tactical repositioning. They've never faced real opposition before. They don't even have evasive protocols. A small smile touched Juwu's lips. Then let's show them what humanity brings to the fight. She opened a channel to all 5 ships. This is Commander Park. These harvesters have never faced ships like ours. They don't know what we can do. Let's teach them. The harvester ships closed rapidly, firing energy weapons similar to those cutting into the station. Juwu watched calmly as the shots splashed against the Dauntless's shields. Shield integrity at 92%, reported engineering. No damage. Let them get closer, Juwu ordered. Wait for my signal. The bridge crew tensed as the black ships approached. At 2,000 kilometers, Juwu gave the order. All ships, execute fire pattern Alpha. Show them how humans fight. As one, the 5 Earth vessels opened fire with everything they had. The darkness of space lit up with the fury of human warfare. The Void Harvesters had never seen anything like human warships before. For centuries, they had faced only Conclave vessels. Beautiful but fragile ships that broke apart after a few good hits. These new ships were different. They were ugly, blocky things covered in weapons, and they refused to die. The Dauntless struck first. Its point defense systems fired thousands of tiny projectiles that cleared a path through the Harvester's energy beams. Behind this shield of counterfire, Earth's other ships executed a perfect pincer movement, surrounding 3 Harvester vessels. Target their propulsion systems, Commander Juwu Park ordered. Disable them first. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Admiral Tahoe watched with a mixture of horror and amazement. When he had requested human help, he hadn't truly understood what that meant. You're targeting their propulsion systems, he noted, mandibles clicking rapidly. The Conclave protocols forbid attacks on critical systems. We disable weapons only, to minimize loss of life. Jiwoo turned to him, her face set with determination. With respect, Admiral, Conclave protocols would get us all killed. These aren't enemies who surrender. The tactical display showed the battle unfolding. The Intrepid and Valiant had already disabled 2 harvester ships, while the Defiant and Resolute moved to protect the damaged Proxima Station. Commander, called out Communications Officer Jinwoo. Emergency signal from Proxima Station. They've managed to launch evacuation pods, but 3 harvester ships are moving to intercept. The screen showed small civilian vessels fleeing the damaged station. Behind them, 3 black harvester ships changed course, hunting the defenseless pods. Jiwoo stood up. Move the Dauntless to intercept. Full speed. That will put us directly in their path, warned Captain Doyun. We'll take heavy fire from all 3. I know, said Jiwoo. Do it. The massive Earth flagship changed course, engines burning hot as it raced to place itself between the harvesters and the fleeing civilians. The enemy ships noticed the move and concentrated their fire on the Dauntless. The shields flared bright blue as they absorbed impact after impact. Shields at 60% and dropping, reported engineering. Admiral Tejo gripped the edge of a console. You must withdraw. No ship can withstand concentrated fire from 3 harvesters. Jiwoo ignored him. Divert all non-essential power to forward shields. Prepare to execute Maneuver Omega. The bridge crew exchanged glances. Maneuver Omega was barely tested, considered too risky for anything but a desperate situation. Commander, said Do-Hyun quietly, Omega could damage our ship severely. The civilians won't make it otherwise. Jiwoo replied. Do it. As the Dauntless positioned itself directly in the path of the 3 harvester ships, Jiwoo gave the order that violated every warfare principle the Conclave lived by. Overload the forward shield emitters. Create a kinetic shockwave on my mark. The ship's systems wailed in protest as power surged into the shield generators far beyond their rated capacity. The harvesters, sensing weakness, closed in for the kill. Mark. Jiwoo shouted. The overloaded shields exploded outward in a massive wave of energy. The shockwave slammed into the 3 harvester ships with devastating force. 2 of them broke apart instantly, their sleek black hulls shattering like glass. The third spun away, trailing debris and leaking energy. But the Dauntless paid a price. The bridge lights flickered as systems failed throughout the ship. A support beam crashed down from the ceiling, and fire suppression systems activated in 3 sections. Damage report. Jiwoo called out, picking herself up from the floor. Hull breaches on decks 3 and 4, reported Do-Hyun, blood trickling from a cut on his forehead. 17 crew members injured, 3 seriously. Forward shield generators are completely burned out. But we're still fighting, Jiwoo said, checking the tactical display. The civilian pods were safe, speeding away from the battle zone. Admiral Tejo stared at her, his large eyes blinking rapidly. You risked your ship and crew, he said in disbelief. Why? Jiwoo met his gaze steadily. Because losing a ship to save thousands is a trade we're willing to make. The Admiral looked around the damaged bridge, seeing human crew members helping the injured while continuing to perform their duties. Despite their wounds, despite the damage to their ship, they kept fighting. Incoming transmission from Earth Command, announced Jinwoo. 6 more battle groups have been authorized. They'll arrive within 48 hours. A cheer went up from the crew. 6 more battle groups meant 30 more ships like the Dauntless. Over the next week, the pattern of battle became clear. The harvesters would concentrate fire on a human vessel, expecting it to break apart like Conclave ships. Instead, Earth warships absorbed punishment that would have destroyed Conclave vessels 3 times over, and kept fighting. Even when systems failed and hulls were breached, the compartmentalized designs meant that human ships remained operational. Backup systems activated automatically. Damaged sections were sealed off. The wounded were treated, and the fight continued. 2 weeks into Operation Firewall, as the humans called it, Admiral Tejo sat with Jiwoo in the Dauntless's repaired mess hall. The ship bore the scars of multiple engagements, patched hull sections, replaced conduits, and hastily repaired systems. But it still flew, and it still fought. "I did not understand before," Tahoe said quietly, watching human crew members eat and laugh despite their bandages and burns. "Why your ships were built this way. Why you accepted damage and casualties as normal." Jiwoo smiled tiredly. "It's not that we accept them as normal. We just refuse to let them stop us." Tahoe's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "Perhaps there is something the Conclave can learn from humanity after all." "And there's much we can learn from you," Jiwoo replied. "When this is over, when the Harvesters are defeated, maybe we can build something better together." Alarm sounded, and both of them rose immediately. "Commander, to the bridge," came Do-hyun's voice over the intercom. "Long-range sensors have detected something massive entering the system." Jiwoo and Taeho exchanged glances. The real battle was just beginning. The final battle approached. After 2 months of fighting, the human and Conclave forces had pushed the Void Harvesters back to the Ta City system. There, long-range sensors detected something massive: the Harvester mothership. The combined fleet held position at the edge of the system. 35 human warships floated alongside the remaining Conclave vessels. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Commander Jiwoo Park studied the sensor readings with growing concern. "It's huge," she whispered. The mothership was a vast black structure, twice the size of Earth's largest vessel. Around it swarmed hundreds of smaller harvester ships. "Conventional attacks will be ineffective," warned Minji Kwan, weapons specialist. "Its outer hull absorbs energy weapons, and it's too large for kinetic strikes to cause critical damage." Admiral Taeho stood beside Jiwoo, his blue skin regaining some of its color after weeks of successful battles. "Perhaps we should wait for reinforcements." "There's no time," said Jiwoo. "Look at these readings. They're preparing to jump to the inner systems." She zoomed in on the mothership's central section. That's their power core. "If we could hit that." "Their defenses are too strong," said Captain Do-hyun. "No ship could get close enough." Jiwoo was quiet for a long moment. Then she looked up, her mind made up. "We'll need to breach their central core and detonate from within." "That's a suicide mission," Tahoe protested, mandibles clicking rapidly. "Not necessarily," Jiwoo replied. She outlined her plan to the stunned officers. 24 hours later, the human fleet moved into position. The Dauntless led 3 other Earth vessels: the Intrepid, the Valiant, and the Defiant, in what would later be called the Spear of Dawn maneuver. All ships synchronized shield frequencies. Jiwoo ordered from the small shuttle she now piloted. Behind her sat Minji Kwan and engineer Hyun-woo Lee, both working furiously to prepare their special payload: a modified antimatter bomb wrapped in a phase shift device. The shuttle bay doors opened. In front of them, the massive Harvester mothership filled the view, surrounded by swarms of defender ships. "Ready for shield harmonics," reported the Dauntless. "On my mark," said Jiwoo. 3, 2, 1, mark. The 4 human warships fired their engines simultaneously, moving in perfect formation toward the mothership. As they approached, their shields merged into a single energy field, creating a narrow tunnel through which Jiwoo's shuttle could fly protected. Harvester ships fired at the human vessels, but their shots dissipated against the synchronized shields. The 4 ships pushed deeper into the enemy formation, taking damage but holding their position. "Tunnel is stable," came Do-hyun's voice over the comm. "You have 1 shot, Commander. Make it count." Jiwoo pushed the shuttle to full speed, racing through the shield tunnel toward the mothership. Around them, they could see Harvester ships exploding as the human fleet engaged them. "We're approaching the hull," said Hyun-woo, activating phase shift device. The shuttle vibrated as the experimental technology activated. For a brief moment, their shuttle would be able to pass through solid matter. "Now," shouted Jiwoo, pushing the engines beyond safety limits. The shuttle shuddered as it passed through the mothership's outer hull. Alarms blared as systems overloaded. Phase shift failing, warned Hyunwoo. We've got 2 minutes before we're solid again. Jiwoo navigated through a maze of internal structures, following the energy readings toward the central core. Behind them, the hull sealed itself, trapping them inside. There it is, said Minji, pointing ahead. The core glowed with strange energy, pulsing like a heart. Jiwoo maneuvered the shuttle as close as possible. Set the device. Hyunwoo activated the antimatter bomb. 10 minutes and counting. That's longer than we have, said Minji quietly. Jiwoo looked at her crew. They all knew this might be a one-way trip. There's an emergency escape pod, said Hyunwoo, pointing to the back of the shuttle. It might fit one person. You two go, said Jiwoo. Commander, Minji began. That's an order. Jiwoo cut her off. I'll hold position to ensure the bomb detonates properly. The pod can't fit 3, and you both have families. After a brief argument, Minji and Hyunwoo reluctantly entered the tiny escape pod. Jiwoo sealed it and launched it toward a small maintenance hatch she'd spotted. Alone now, Jiwoo contacted the fleet. Device planted. Countdown initiated. Tell everyone to pull back to safe distance. What about you? Asked Do-yeon, his voice tight. I'm staying with the ship, she replied calmly. The minutes ticked by as Jiwoo watched the mothership's core pulsing before her. She thought about Earth, about the conclave worlds she'd helped save. It was worth it. With 30 seconds remaining, a section of the hull near her shuttle suddenly opened. A conclave vessel, smaller and faster than any she'd seen before, shot through the gap. Commander Park, came Admiral Taiho's voice. I believe you require extraction. The explosion was visible from 3 systems away. The Harvester mothership broke apart from within, its destruction taking hundreds of smaller ships with it. The remaining Harvesters, cut off from their command, scattered and fled. 2 months later, Jiwoo stood before the conclave assembly. Her left arm was in a sling, and a fresh scar ran down her cheek, but she stood tall. The vast chamber was filled with representatives from all 27 conclave species, and now humanity. The conclave High Counselor, a tall, graceful being, addressed the assembly. Humanity has proven both terrifying and indispensable. Their methods, while sometimes shocking to our sensibilities, have saved countless lives. The counselor paused. We propose a new doctrine, incorporating human efficiency while maintaining ethical boundaries. The initiative was called Pax Humana, peace through human strength. Under its terms, modified human warships would form the backbone of conclave defense, with mixed crews to ensure compliance with revised warfare protocols. As the first human conclave joint fleet assembled, Admiral Taiho approached Jiwoo, now High Commander Park of the Unified Fleet. Your ships are still too powerful, he noted, mandibles clicking softly. But perhaps that's exactly what the galaxy needed. Around them, human engineers taught conclave specialists about redundant systems and compartmentalized design. In another section, conclave philosophers discussed with human officers the value of measured response and minimum necessary force. Jiwoo smiled at Taiho, touching the scar on her face. Not too powerful, she corrected, just powerful enough. Together, they watched as the first joint design vessel took shape in the orbital shipyard, a ship with human durability and conclave elegance, neither purely a warship nor simply a diplomatic vessel, but something new, something better. The end.